from Medical Ministry, page 321. The Lord has encouraged those who have started out on their own responsibility to work for Him, their hearts being filled with love for souls ready to perish. A true missionary spirit will be imparted to those who earnestly seek to know God and Jesus Christ whom He has sent. The Lord lives and He reigns. Young men, go forth into places to which you are directed by the Spirit of God. Work with your hands that you may be self-supporting, and as you have opportunity, proclaim the messages of warning. And that's the way this work is going to be finished. It's all under the auspices of the church, okay? But everyone must do their work, and then we're all like the little bees bringing back the souls to the hive, right? Now, if we find people that are laboring and are teaching things that we as a people, the organized church, cannot agree with, those people cannot be sanctioned by the church, right? In other words, if they're going out and preaching heresy and they're doing medical missionary work, quote, okay, we can't ordain that. We can't sanction that. It's got to be these workers that are consecrated to the Lord, to His church, and who are doing a work that is building up the body, not causing separation. All right? We're to labor for unity. And we have to be careful now because there's many, many groups coming up, that are tending to draw people off after themselves. And this is not what we want. We want to build up God's body, right? From volume 7 of the Testimonies, 280, God calls for workers. The cause needs men who are self-made, who, placing themselves in the hands of the Lord as humble learners, have proved themselves workers together with Christ. These are the men that are needed now in the ministry and in the schoolwork. Let those who have shown themselves to be men move out and do what they can in the Master's service. Let them step into the ranks of workers and by patient, continuous effort prove their worth. It is in the water, not on the land, that we learn to swim. So let them fill with fidelity the place to which they are called, that they may become qualified to bear still higher responsibilities. God gives all opportunity to perfect themselves in the work. All right? So it is in doing that we perfect the methods of labor. We're not going to just sit around and read the books and then we think that, oh, well, this is going to work out just wonderfully, and then we go do it and everything's fine. No. There is even a ministry in mistakes if we recognize the mistakes. And we can say, oh, well, I don't want to do that again. That's not nice. That doesn't work. And then God can teach us, right? And so we're learning all the time, all the time. If we happen to say the wrong thing to, let's say, an interested contact, you may have had that experience, and we lose that ability to labor for that soul. Well, we regret it, we lament it, it's done, but maybe the next time we'll know not to be that way, not to speak that word, not to go ahead of the leading of the Spirit. Wait until we see opportunities. God is teaching us how to labor for souls, right? Okay, I think we're going to stop here because it's about time, I believe. And then we'll take a little break, and then we'll come back and 4 minutes? All right, well, I'm going to stop here. Are there any questions or comments? The question is, why not large institutions and things? Could we learn an object lesson from nature? What about beehives? What happens when the hive gets too big? Have you ever seen bees? The colonies, they go. They'll go and they'll set up another one. Okay? They don't just all congregate in this one hive. You remember I had mentioned to you the story, a little bit of the story of Battle Creek, and when Ms. White, told our church that we needed another institution, and she says that Battle Creek is going down. Now, she then explains why it was going down. Several reasons. One, the Lord's plan for labor wasn't followed. They were collecting all of God's workers there into Battle Creek. And God intended this work to what? Be scattered, spread out, so that people throughout the world could have an access to this message. And they weren't doing it. And then there were other things. They were giving spurious education because they were now seeking for approval from the world rather than doing what God had told them to do in their educational work. And so, there'll be some centers that are larger than others. That's okay. You go into a garden or you go into the forest, you see some big trees, you see some little trees. They're all God's trees. And so not every institution has to be, okay, no more than 10 beds. No, they'll vary, but the principle should be always the same, that once an institution gets established and it's doing a work, it's training, it is ministering to the local communities, then it reaches a critical mass, and then it needs to divide. And then others need to go out from that place and establish more centers. It's not just to be drawing everybody, to it. Workers should be going out from that place to help other places establish. Should it apply to the churches? Of course. Of course. That's why we branch out. We have branch churches, and then they're little companies. They go out, and when they get bigger, then they become a church, and then they should establish others. It's the growth principle that God has established for us.